Alright, this is Tony J and
Aline Salsa.
today I would like to ask you, how do you feel about the ostrich effect?
I feel that here in Toronto, we are living that in a lot of ways, with the homeless, with the people with mental health, with the people with addiction. Just today, like in front of here, we have a shelter. A woman wasn't able to get in. She's suffering about abuse with her man, and she doesn't have a phone. She doesn't have a way to go. I tried to call some place to help her. Unfortunately, I couldn't. I give her some ways to deal with the situation because I was in a shelter before. Today, I live in a community home. I'm waiting for a City of Toronto apartment for 13 years and a half, and they keep adding people in priority on top of me that I don't understand why. And like the people that I live closer to the Christie Park, the homeless around there, and the youngest homeless and the oldest ones is like, and we just pass by all of them every day. We don't stop to talking to them. We don't stop to giving them any money. They just don't need money. They just need the attention. Sometimes one hug, one smile that we give to them make a lot of difference in their lives.
How do you feel that misdiagnosis comes in, the mental health, misdiagnosis of mental health, and people
Slipping
feel
through the cracks, right?
slipping through the cracks of people who are misdiagnosed, they're on the wrong medication, they're not on any medication? Do you think that kind of ties into anything having to do with homelessness, and should nothing be done about it?
Definitely.
And how do we, is there a way, without a psychiatrist, without a note, you can't look at someone and say you're schizophrenic or you're high on drugs. How do you differentiate between mental health and drug addiction?
First, we need to have a better health direction on psychiatrists and therapists, because therapists here is really difficult to get. I was misdiagnosed. I first was diagnosed as a bipolar, and took like many years for them to figure out that I'm a borderline. I have a borderline personality disorder. So it like I didn't take as many wrong medication, but that unfortunately make me not be able to work because all the effects of the borderline cause on me depression, addiction, and all of that. So not being able to work and all of that. So it happened to me, and today I'm able to be in a community home on ODSP in college, because I just started college at George Brown at the community work. So soon, hopefully, I'm gonna be a community social worker to help all these people. So it's really terrible. So we need to fight for a better health, for people on the streets have access to therapy and psychiatrists to be able to be correctly diagnostic and have the proper medication to be able to get on the place that I am today.
And if I may ask you, so sometimes when you do talk to people, so let's say myself or yourself, I mean, look at me, I'm a little bit LGBT terrific here, you know, right?
Yeah.
So depending on what you look like, or how you portray yourself, when you come up to people on the street, and you say, I want to help you, what can I do for you? And they may be responsive, but they may be unresponsive. So if it is necessary to get that diagnosis, but how do you actually do that? Because I've tried, we've all tried. But you can't just come up to someone and say, hey, I'm just like a skinny white girl, you know, like let me give you like a coffee, like let's talk about your problems. Like nobody cares, nobody is gonna tell me about their life. Even though you don't know, I have a PhD in psychiatry, but what is that approach that you can go to someone and make them not feel othered, make them, or not even make them, how do you approach someone and say, how do you approach somebody that's on the street that's already having a hard time and say, hey, I think you have a mental problem, let me diagnose you? Like how do you know what I mean? Like people don't want that help. Also, they can refuse that, right? Like you can't just go to people and say you're either a drug addict or you have a mental problem, right? That's a false dichotomy. What do you think about that?
Definitely it's a false. You're not one or another. Most of the time you are both. And most of the time the addiction comes because of mental problem. Of course, have a lot of people that have addiction problem that doesn't have any mental ones. But come to people hey, how can I help you? That's a good approach. I think that you have a mental problem and that's not a good one. Like I do this kind of job. I'm a social worker. I'm a community worker. I'm a psychiatrist. I think that I can help you? Can we talk? Can you talk to me about your life? So usually, as I told you before, when you give that attention to them, they usually give you the attention. Like the lady that she came to ask me for a cigarette. I asked her, how are you doing? She said, I'm not good. So my friend went inside and I was outside here talking to her because I give her attention. I ask how she is doing and she was feel comfortable enough to say, I'm not good, and I give her the attention and the help. So, and that is the one that we help. That ones that when we ask and say, no, I'm fine, just give me your money, or that people doesn't want to help. So let's start with the ones that want to be helped, the ones that are willing to talk to us, because, and leave the ones that doesn't want to help now for later. Let's work with the ones, because have a lot on the streets that want help, they just don't know where to start, and we are not helping them.
You're amazing. I'm so glad. Thank you. And together we're gonna make the world better, right?
Oh, sure, we will.
I'm so glad.